We need to counteract fear with curiosity. So the more that you can get curious and stop judging yourself, stop ignoring those signals, stop doing the things like that, and listen and get curious. Like, what is this? Is this a path to go down? Is this something to try? Do I say yes to the date? Do I say yes to the thing? Do I go, in this path? Like, sometimes we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but you have to lean into that step. And that first step is pivotal as well as like the next one, right? Like, so I think the biggest thing is like, we've got to stop like getting frozen in fear and start like opposite of that, getting curious, lean into love, lean into things that like can fill our cups, and then start doing those things. The more action begets better action.
Welcome back to Richer Retailer. Today's guest is honestly a celebrity. She wouldn't say she was, but she is. She has built websites for some of the most recognizable names in premium retail and high-end retail. We're talking about JLo Beauty, Billy Reed, amazing company, Skinny Confidential, also
Liverpool, Los Angeles, Chroma Wellness. We've done a lot in CPG and retail. We did Cut from the Cloth as a client. Like, there's a lot of really cool like retail companies. Grundon's like the big international company with the shoes, and we even did Grunt Style as well.
Wow, cool. The other thing is that she runs a Shopify Platinum agency, which basically, I was trying to figure out how to define this for all of you because I didn't really know exactly what it is. But it basically means that Shopify looked at everything her team does and said, oh, yes, we want more of that, is pretty much what they have said to her. And she's been in digital strategy and in e-commerce for over a decade. She's a co-founder and a CEO. She's a mom, and she's done all of this while surviving things that most people would walk away from entirely. That's for sure. And we're going to talk about mindset with her because that is absolutely one of her effortless superpowers. It's so incredible. She also survived a partner buyout. That's a whole story. Then she survived an M&A, cancer diagnosis, and she kept building. She kept showing up at the beach. You guys have to follow her on Instagram if you don't. We'll put all those links in there and she'll tell you at the end. Because when she does her stories on Instagram of the beach, of the water, I tell you, Chelsea, your heart, your love, and your encouragement comes right through my screen and gives me a kiss on the cheek. That's what it
does so much. Thank you. It became just a little experiment. I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of used it as an online diary thing, and it's been fun to see people really react to it. Like,
it's incredible. Listen, we all cannot wait to hear what you have to say today. Please welcome Chelsea Jones. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cathy. I love that. I'm honored to be here. I'm excited to drop some pearls of wisdom and help your audience really sell more products to their people, understand and simplify technology and branding, and honestly, just calm the chaos. Like, mindset is things that we all probably feel a little overwhelmed with so many of the tech things that are happening and updates and changes. And the more we can get strategic and alignment of this, the more we can have some quantum leaps and some really cool miracles happen. So
exactly. That's one of my awards for this year, miracles.
Love it.
Yeah, feel free to borrow. What am I saying? You've already seen those, actually.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'm writing a book called Scars and Miracles right now, too. So I'm like,
wow, that's beautiful. I want to just touch on, actually, it was a perfect segue because I know, so we work so closely with all of our clients. So we really know and see what's happening in retail. And truly, all of the stuff in the world going on is one thing. That's a whole thing. And then there's also this excitement of AI. And you feel like you're already behind no matter what, but then, I still have to how do I grow my sales and how do I get my e-com to work better? So overwhelming for people. That's why I want to make sure we talk about mindset. But how about, could you give us a few things for all of my high achievers to just write down right now about what it is they could do in the next 7 days to have an impact?
If you're not using Claude AI right now, you need to be. And what I would recommend is a couple things. One, I specialize in conversion rate optimization and retention, and then design and development when it comes to Shopify. So in order to improve your online system to sell more of your retail, you need to make sure it's connected to the LLMs. There's this great new company called agentshop.com that's out. It has a free audit link on that of how your products are showing up in the search engines for Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, all of them. And you need to start having your product feed actually feed into those and show up. So highly recommend looking at that.
Agent Shop.
cloud.com
Gotcha. Okay.
is the website. And then the other ones is, and I'll give you guys all contacts and links at the end. But the other thing that you need to really do is prompt Claude as if you were actively trying to make more impact of your products into the future and forecasting. So here's what's very fascinating. As you know, in retail, you're always buying for the next season, the next thing, right? To sell. But in order to have better data on what you're actually going to be able to sell out of and stuff, you need to look at the trends, and you need to also know and have it prompt more around your product line and your offerings to your customer. Most times people will buy things based on either an emotional or, a need that it's solving. And what we've seen in the e-com space is the more you can get more targeted approach and personalize it, the better. So Claude AI, I geek out on it every day, from chat to co-work. I would highly recommend to say, act as if you are the best strategist in the world for this retail store. How can I get more visibility on here? What's the AEO and GEO? It's basically SEO for LLMs is what AEO and GEO is, right? So how does your site and your products actually feed in these searches? Because what we're seeing in tech is the adoption is happening at a rapid rate to now 34% of all decision making on products, and it's increasing, is happening through LLMs. So
yeah, that's fascinating. All right, so they'll go on there. Now, the one thing about, of course, that we know about AI is that, of course, it's not completely flawless. So what I fear is that if I was to go home, so let's say I'm walking, I'm driving, I'm listening to you, and I'm like, okay, agentshop.com. I can remember that. Okay. Claude AI. Okay. Of course, AEO and GEO, but how do I get it to sort for me so that given my particular information, my particular store, my particular situation, how do I know what are the top 5 things I should do?
Okay. I love this so much because I'm a firm believer, and this is where mindset comes into place with AI. Ask it and prompt it back to that. So basically, go back to Claude and be like, I don't know what I don't know. I'm asking these different things. Like, please fix the stuff, pull the research, just start pushing it back like you would, like we're doing right now in strategy. And what I love about the co-work piece of Claude is it's basically built to be like that, right? Like, how can you have new documents and feedback loops and different structure? And then don't just take the first thing. Always say hey, can you relook at this? Can you do a quality assurance and test? I don't know if this data is right. Make sure you're using your brain and your mindset to push back on it so you get a better outcome. And you get better results that way too. Never do you want to just have the first thing. What I think we need to really hone in on mindset is it goes from understanding vision to now, instead of a linear thinking, we need to think in a circle, because prompting AI agents has to be circle based and feedback loop based so that it gets better and it can get you the output and the outcome that you want.
Okay. My mind was just blown. Talk more about how you see that working. Can you give me another example of that?
For sure. So think of it like this. So again, my background is in web design, right? So when you do a proper website design, you usually have a strategy document, copy documents, design, then development, then quality assurance, testing, launch, right? That's a whole process to do it right. For those of you that have done construction and your retail stores, you can always find great contractors or not great contractors, right? It's the same with web development. But the same thing now with AI agents is it's that process of linear, strategy, design, structure. It still needs to happen, but it needs to happen up here at a circle, because AI agents have feedback and they're constantly improving and changing. So you have to constantly poke at it, as opposed to be this is a checkbox done. You need to be hey, fix this. Have you looked at that? Relook at things. You need to basically be in a circle feedback loop, which is different than a linear line. So I think that's the real mindset shift to make AI really working for you in the way that you need it to.
Right. I've seen it happen where I've been in, I don't even remember if it was Chat or Claude now, but where I was in something, it said, okay, I'm going to go out and create this Google Doc for you. And then nothing. I'm like, hey, are you still working? Yes. Nothing. I said, hey, can you not create a Google Doc? And no, I'm sorry, I can't. And so, right, whatever it was. So it will tell you if it's on the right page or not. So that's a really fascinating,
Yeah,
really
and I
fascinating thing.
think that's the biggest adoption that we're seeing is the people that are winning with AI right now are the ones that are getting curious and then just constantly feedback loops, right? Like how else can you improve it? And then you have to have a specialty in your niche. Like retail very well. You've helped so many people over the years. Like the data that you have in your brain, then the more that you can put that into AI and these feedback loops, the better it's going to give you those outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That agentshop.com. So that will actually rank you. Is that what that does?
So it's not a ranking. It is, I actually like to say it's more of like Klaviyo for your LLMs to
Oh.
let you know how Klaviyo does email and SMS, right? So your retail store, you're going into Klaviyo, you're sending out emails and, text messages. What Agent Shop does is it takes your product feed and feeds it into all the LLMs so that you have true conversion rate data on getting those to be searchable. So the reason I said that link is there's a free audit on how your products are showing up in AI on there that I like to send people to just because everyone wants more information on what it looks like, but it'll give you some tools or some ideas that you can just fix on your own probably to make it happen. But I would highly recommend looking at that product line too, because yeah, the more of these kind of tools that you can find that get you more visibility and more simplicity, the better. But I'm a
Right.
firm believer, like, don't add tools just for tools' sake. Like, otherwise, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have chaos and junk in, junk out. You got to make
Mm-hmm.
sure it's like accurate to your goals.
And this will work for stores that carry many brands, right? Like not just a brand. Does
Correct.
it make
Now,
sense?
it is a Shopify app. So if your stores have Shopify, they have connections into other platforms. But right now, I think it's mainly on Shopify.
Yeah, and that's what most everyone has, so that's not a problem. And I know that Shopify has included a lot of and has really changed, and it has so many AI tools now in their tool belt. Is there anything else in particular that you'd recommend? Because that's another place that people get
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
I think the recommendations I have are really for people to start thinking through, like they've done in web design, thinking through AI agents. So, what is an AI agent? It's like a software tool piece that can do functions for you on daily, like accurate stuff. Like you can build it and prompt it. It's that circle thing I was talking to you about, but it can
Mhm.
basically act as an employee to you. So, what's an advantage of this is if you can build out an AI agent that helps you run your retail store, for example, a social media one or something, like you can have different things. I think the future of employment is actually people becoming AI architects with a lot of AI employees underneath them
Yeah,
so that
for
they can be
sure.
more effective. I'm pro human and pro employees on like all different kind of ways, but it has to be done where they're up leveling their brain and consciousness and their mindset, which we're talking about too, and using these tools to be more effective at the outcomes that they're going for.
Yes, exactly. The other thing I'd love to know is I hear from clients all the time that they say that one of the most valuable things we tell them is what not to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's so many things out there that they can do. And so when I can tell you, no, don't go down that rabbit hole, that really serves them. So I'd love for you to help them that way. What should they ignore? Are there tools on Shopify that they should ignore? Is there anything else that you see out there in the world of ecom that might be a bright, shiny object that everyone's talking about and that they should ignore too?
Yeah, I think in order to answer that question better, I'm actually in a unique stage of life where I'm like ignoring a lot of things and just going really deep in specific AI things and specific scenarios. Like I joke, like my vision for life is I want to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. So all the pillars underneath that, what does that look like in my health protocols and my business stuff and the wisdom like I'm seeking and learning? Like I recommend cut out the noise and go do deep work. So to
Mm.
answer that question, stop getting distracted by all the things they're going to pitch you a million times because now with AI, things are getting pitched like amazing and all kinds of stuff. You have to really go inward, know intuition wise and what you're actually meant to build or do, and then lean into that outcome that you want. Like, especially as
Mhm.
leaders of companies and retail stores, like if they're wanting to sell more products or they're wanting to have more impact and they want to see this piece actually evolve, they need to make sure that they're thinking through, okay, taking some time to just be quiet and do the deep work. I think that's the
Mhm.
problem that we have in this world right now is there's distraction like galore, right? We're all overwhelmed and structure on this. And now we're seeing like, okay, what else can we do to actually lean in to simplify? So like on the
Right.
Sunny Road side that we do on the agency side, I've also been doing some consulting on this shopplaybook.com piece, which allows people to simplify the chaos and not have as much stress in understanding what they need to do and why, because now they're making a plan that's directive to them and their goals as company.
That's such solid advice that we cannot hear enough. I'm so grateful that you shared that. What I personally find hard to do is that, right, it's like the top of it looks like it's really good. The first layer looks really interesting, but then you dig a little deeper. And, I would love to say that time from the get-go. What are the filters that you use to decide if something is worth your time or not? What are your filters that you use to determine if something is just noise or if it is a true signal? Like
Yeah.
when you talk about health, wealth, and why, healthy, wealthy, wise, I mean, that, for example, is a fabulous filter to use about anything that you're looking at, right?
Yeah, I think you asked such a good question because the filter has to be still the outcome and the prompts, right? Like I teach my kids, like, do you listen well, ask good questions, and manage your emotions, right? We need to do the same thing in business stuff. And when we're talking about filtering, you've got to have clarity, parameters, and boundaries that then put that into place of where, so that you can actually hit the goals. Otherwise, it's like going to the gym and just throwing around different stuff and having no like real accurate, like I want to, work legs today, or I want to do my abs, like on different things. Like there is better results when you have targeted focus. And so when you can have targeted focus, I think the biggest encouragement I have to people is honestly spending a little time. Like the biggest shift I have done in my personal life has been my morning routine. Like I protect it. I'm really big about like having some time in the morning where I can do some breath work, pray, like have a little bit of like, okay, settle time, and not just be like constantly like jumping in on my devices, because I've done that a lot in my life. Like I've been in tech for a long time and I understand the addiction process of that. So in order to like counteract that, you have to like be specific of like, okay, I'm gonna take a moment, I'm gonna be present, I'm gonna like look at that. But I think we have to also like stop trying to like do extremes, because all of life we're gonna have a lot of this. I think the biggest thing I have learned is like sometimes just the moment of being present right here, right now, like looking people in the eyes, like understanding stuff, doing like a 1% thing each day. Like, are you moving the needle forward in health? Are you moving the needle forward in business? Like, if you repeated this day every single day, would you be closer to your goals?
Wow. Because what I know is true of all of us who are big dreamers and have big visions for where we want to take our life is we just think about those quantum leaps. We
Yeah.
think about going here. I mean, something that 1%, why am I wasting my time on that? So what I love about your suggestion here is being deliberate about everything.
Yeah.
And that is actually, I have a whole morning, I call it positive brainwashing. I learned it from my coach. I just recorded a whole episode on it. It's amazing. But I talk about how I'm going to be intentional in everything. That's something I repeat. Like it's one of the affirmations of the mantras that I use and I pray about, but it didn't occur to me until just now how I've failed at it. For example, when you said that you don't go on your devices right away, I was realizing that I spent a good 35 minutes, okay, I'm just going to be real here, in the bathroom, scrolling through all these shots from the Met Gala.
Oh, totally. I mean,
And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that's the thing too, is it's not like that's a bad decision, but
yeah.
it's just that I stopped it though and I didn't feel good. That's what's bad, right? You can't judge yourself about it. You just
Can't
have to
judge
make a
yourself.
decision and move forward.
Yeah, grace and gratitude is like so important in this journey, because like we're all figuring it out in some ways, right? And like we're gonna have times of scrolling, we're gonna have times of that, but like what else can we do that is gonna like move the needle? And like, yes, when you're a visionary and you're thinking 10 steps ahead and you're all of this, like you still have to be like, okay, you're not gonna get in the fittest shape of your life if you don't go to the gym and consistently do this over time, right? Like you have to think about it in a longevity piece. What is the action I'm doing right now that's gonna move the needle forward in that way?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say grace and gratitude for yourself is like figure it out as you go. But I also am a firm believer, and I like Cody Sanchez's stuff of like imperfect action is better than no action every day. And the more that we do things, the more momentum that we can have, the more momentum, the more results. And that like always has like a ripple effect.
Yes. That is very true too. Right. And so I think that the most important thing actually is the fact that I heard this from you clearly today and that I recognized that I didn't really need to spend that time. So I'm not beating myself up that I sat for that long looking at all. I mean, some of the outfits were really cool. Some were weird, but okay, a lot were weird. But the thing is that I take this, I learn from it, and I work to establish those filters. So what can I do to not have this happen again? And for some reason, it just hadn't occurred to me that, right, I should just not pick up my phone right away.
A very hard habit to break, because I absolutely have my phone with me a lot with work and like constantly here. So I think it's just giving yourself, just like if you ate, vegetable versus a sweet, like it's just making those little decisions of like, okay, right now I'm going to do something intentional. And instead of just pulling up to scroll, and then I'll read something or have a podcast or do something that like moves the needle forward in your mind.
That's a really powerful filter to use about how to get stopped, because what happens to all of us is that all of a sudden we are down this rabbit hole. It happened over the weekend, and it wasn't really a bad thing, and I was fine with it. But, it was like an hour and 10 minutes of my life now that I'm not ever going to get back, and it wouldn't have been my first choice. Like first thing in the morning, I would not have said, oh, I want to spend an hour and 10 minutes today doing this,
Well,
And
you have to realize we need rest. Like rest is super important, but we don't rest when we're doing that, like on the scrolling and stuff. Like rest comes in different forms, and for different people and different personalities. Like I would love to have longer sleep, but I'm like a high energy person, so I'm good with like 6.5, 7 hours, right? So like I'm constantly like undoing things, but rest for me could be like walking the beach or having a moment to just ground myself and like be present. So, and we don't learn that until we like learn more about our bodies and ourselves too, of like how can I actually tap in and be more intentional in this moment to like impact there. And that's the fun work.
Correct, for sure. Well, and so what I love that I've walked away with so far is, so you have to have your filter that you can filter either AI things that you shouldn't get involved in or whatever, just so that you can stay focused and focus on the signals in your life. Like this to me was for sure a signal, like hearing this. And so a signal to me is that I'm going to try not having my phone. So I'm going to see how that goes. But the other important element is, well, there's two. The one is recognizing the power of reviewing, the power of looking back and say, okay, what went well, what didn't? Because, you and I and everyone else we all just want to jump right in. Like, I'm not going to waste my time planning. Yeah. I'm not going to waste my time reviewing and evaluating if I made good decisions or not. But of course, that's what you have to do, because otherwise you don't know where you can get rest from. And that was the other point that I really wanted to reiterate that you brought up, is that you can't go all the time. You have to have time off. How have you handled that all in your life with all the things you have going on?
It's a great question. I think when you have a lot of responsibilities and you're tasked with a lot of things, it is hard to figure out rest. But I think hard is a good thing, not a bad thing. And the more that we can lean into like the difficult stuff, right? Like a hot coal and pressure becomes a diamond. What does that look like when you're actually taking time for yourself? You're learning to put your oxygen mask on first. You're learning to say no and have healthy boundaries and structure out things that will matter. But for me, rest is different than other people. Like I actually rest with people. So like I'm happy going to like a coffee shop and seeing like, I like the just like observing like people, and I love like, or resting at the beach or having like moments of like just downtime to kind of let your brain kind of settle when you're doing things. Going for a walk can be restful. So movement and rest can coincide, but I think it's also important that we have the moments. And I love yoga too. So like I'll lay on the yoga mat and just like, the namaste thing. So like the moments that you can have where it does feel like you are being intentional about resting can help. But I think we rest and heal in community and with others too. So, we can't be our own mirror. We have to have other people like mirror things. And like, there's really incredible data and research happening about your nervous system and how like touch and people like can actually like transfer and energetic states, and how, we all know it, right? When we're around somebody that's like magnetic and excited, like we get excited too, right? It is energy can be transference. Well, same thing when you're around like depressed or angry or difficult people, it can be like that energy vampire side. So I think the same thing happens in rest, is you can magnify it for yourself when you have good inputs and you know what fills your cup.
And that's the key, is actually something that I have learned, is that rest isn't necessarily what you traditionally think of it, which is just zoning out in Shavasana, although that is rest. But I have learned that it's what fills your cup. And I lift heavy regularly now, and that absolutely fills my cup. That is rest for me. That is
going to the gym is rest for me, because I'm doing something for myself and I'm like, yes, like doing the weights, like all of it. Yeah. I love that.
I know that you're the same way. How have you, as you've dealt with all of this, because the other thing that happens to us all is that dang ceiling of fear, and we get afraid, and because we get so comfortable doing things a certain way, and even if it's not perfect, even if this isn't exactly the life we want to have, I don't know, it's kind of comfy. Like I know what to expect, and you can have so much fear to make changes about things and to start acting on some of these signals. As we're talking about this, God laid this so heavy on my heart just now. There is someone listening who knows signals and has seen these signals, but has thought they were just noise, has ignored them, but kind of knowingly. And so how can we encourage that person to go past that fear, recognize that signal, and take action? It's scary to change.
So here, I have an interesting thought about fear. I think having gone through all that I've gone through in life and dealing with cancer and all this different stuff, I've kind of had a little bit of a no fear mentality about it, partly because it's like, what's the worst that can happen? I've already dealt with a lot of that, right? Like, so I think,
oh my gosh, I love that. Fear is not a stop sign. Instead, it's a sign telling you to ask more questions. It's a sign for you to keep saying, what if? But the point is what if something good happens? And that can to think that through. What I love about this is that it absolutely is a move that anyone could make today. And it's like zero expertise, zero budget, but it can change how you act about all this, right?
Yeah. And then that changes your outcome, right? Like there's so much massive like impact for that.
We always end our episodes with what we call a milli moment, which is the moment that you have accomplished something big, and usually inside, right? Something that said, wow, I did that. What has that been for you? And how did it impact your journey? You've got so many of them, actually.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I think the big thing I've accomplished that I'm very thankful for is I'm learning to spark joy and bring light in all of circumstances. That's a very big feat, especially when you're talking about, health and challenges and like cancer coming back the third time and all this stuff. Like to me, sparking joy is in the daily moments. Like, what is it today that you wake up? I'm a general, like kind of positive person, but I've also recognized like that has come through the fire and through work and through getting curious and saying no to fear and just like having a little more grace and space for ourselves and for others. Like, I think the more we can magnify what we're created to do, the better it's going to be for all humanity.
Thank you so very much. I think that's very true. So tell me, where can people find you in Sunny Road if they want to work with you or just even follow along with what you're building?
Yeah, I would love that. So sunnyroad.co is the agency side where we can help everything implementation, design, dev, CRO, and retention. My personal Instagram is Chelsea Akins Jones. I'm just randomly talking on the beach about stuff. So if you want to follow me there. And then shopplaybook.com is my consultancy. If you really need an AI playbook for your team and your org and what you're looking at doing for that. I just love helping companies and people that, honestly, I love helping people like solve big problems in the world. And I love business for the fact of like, we get to serve one another in different ways. And I just find it fascinating.
Well, what I see that you do in everything that you touch, not only do you fill people with joy, you do that also because you've been through so much life and had to filter so many things. I love how you focus on how to help people do things smarter, not harder. That you're not telling them to hustle more, you're helping them do things smarter. And so we will put all of
hard way. I've definitely done the hustle for a long time. So if you can learn anything from people, it's worth, and this with coaches, mentors like I have, you've got to learn from people so that you can do it a better way.
If you're interested in getting more information on how to get this out of your store, don't hesitate to check out a game plan call with us because that's exactly what we do too. Listen, check out all this information. It's in our show notes. And listen, if you found this helpful at all, I'd love for you to take a second or two and just hit that follow button. That'd be awesome. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We are Retail Mavens everywhere. We'd love to see you there. And know that you are astonishingly fabulous and you are so loved. Thank you, Chelsea. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Cathy, it was such an honor. You were wonderful and fabulous. I love your audience and thank you for what you do.
Thank you.